Let's take a look at order of operations. So order of operations is performed when math expressions have more than one operation symbol. So if they have a plus and a minus, a multiplication symbol and an addition symbol, we have to use what's called order of operations, and we use PEMDAS, PEMDAS. And so PEMDAS, the P stands for parentheses or any grouping symbol. So when you think P, you think parentheses, but it could be parentheses, it could be brackets, or it could be absolute value signs. So whatever grouping symbol that you have, you want to do that first. All right. Next, you have exponents, so E for exponents. And then MD, I like to group M and D together, or we should group M and D together, because we don't necessarily do it multiplication before division. MD, you multiply or divide from left to right. And so if division comes first, you do that first. Okay, so you multiply or divide, then you add or subtract. Okay, so parentheses or any grouping symbol, you do exponents, multiply or divide from left to right, then you're going to add or subtract from left to right. So let's review some problems. So I have two examples here that are already done, and I'm going to do a few more, and then you're going to practice on your own. But our original problem here is at the top. We got two examples here. And so the first thing we want to do is take care of the grouping symbol. So we're going to leave that 4 for last. But here we have grouping symbols within the grouping symbols. So the first thing we did was subtract 5 minus 2 to get 3, because that's a grouping symbol within the grouping symbol. Now we're still working inside those brackets because we want to do that first. And so next, so we've done grouping symbols. Next we're doing exponents. So 3 to the second power will give us 9. Okay. And finishing up what's inside those brackets, 25 minus 9 is 16. So once we've finished up or simplified what's inside the brackets, then we could drop them. So now you may say, okay, so you did grouping symbols, then you did exponents, then you did grouping symbols. But if you look at it, we're just looking at this piece by itself. So kind of think of it as if it didn't have a grouping symbol. So within that grouping symbol, to simplify, you would have to do your exponents and then simplify that 25 minus 9. And now we got 4 times 16, that gives us the 64. Next, we have two sets of grouping symbols. So within that grouping symbol, 6 plus 2 times 3, we want to multiply first. So we always multiply before we add or subtract. So 2 times 3 gives us the 6. And then over here, 9 minus 7 gives us 2. We left those parentheses around the 2 because we have this 2 here. We don't really need those parentheses anymore. So either way, it is fine. But we left them in this case because either way you're going to get the same answer. So next we have grouping symbol here. 6 plus 6 is 12. 2 to the second is 4. And right here, 12 divided by 4 will give us 3. So that's our final answer. So just a quick overview of order of operations, and I'm going to do more examples before I have you practice on your own. Okay, we have more examples here of order of operations, so let's try some. So we want to do parentheses first. For the first one, we have parentheses, but that is actually multiplication. So we're going to do that first. There's no grouping symbols, but parentheses indicate multiplication, so we're actually going to start at multiplication. So 2 times 3. I'm going to bring down everything else. 5 minus 6 plus 2 times 3, that is 6. Now I am adding and subtracting. So add or subtract from left to right. So we have a minus first. So 5 minus 6 is negative 1. I'm going to bring down this 6. And then negative 1 plus 6 is 5. Okay, so remember, you're adding or subtracting from left to right. Doesn't matter what comes first. Well, whatever comes first, that's what you do first. All right, so let's move on to number 2. So we are looking at grouping symbols here. So 4 plus 2. I'm going to bring down that negative 9. 4 plus 2 is 6. So that is 9 times 6. So we leave those parentheses there. If we didn't have that negative 9, we wouldn't need the parentheses, but because that 9 is there, we read that as 9 times 4 plus 2. And so next, I'm going to simplify a little more. I could do negative 2 times 3. So negative 2 times 3, or minus 2 times 3, that is a negative 6. Okay, and then I could do these exponents here. So 4 plus 4 squared is 16. So I've done my grouping symbols, and I could multiply or divide. So I multiplied, and I could use my exponents. I could have done each of these one step at a time, but that's going to take you forever. So always take care of your grouping symbols. If you have some multiplication, you can go ahead and do that. And if you have some exponents, you can go ahead and do that. Okay, so now I still have some multiplication here. So I'm going to multiply negative 9 times 6. And that is going to give me negative 54. I'm going to bring down everything else. And then negative 54 minus 6. So I add or subtract from left to right. So my subtraction comes first. So negative 54 minus 6, that is negative 60. Bring down that plus 16. And negative 60 plus 16 will give me a negative 44. And that is my final answer. All right. Let's move on to problem 3. Problem 3 can be tricky because you may look at this and say, okay, I have parentheses there. But when you think about grouping symbols, you're thinking about if you have an operation inside of those grouping symbols. Then you will do that first. We don't have an operation inside of the grouping symbols. So if you look at number 2, we have 4 plus 2. So we simplified that to 6, right? But in number 3, we don't have any operation or anything to do inside of those parentheses. So that tells us that those parentheses are for multiplication, okay? So since we have multiplication, we know we're going to end up multiplying. However, we have this 2 here. So what do you think we're going to do first? Well, according to order of operations, we do grouping symbols, but nothing to simplify in here, right? So next we do exponents. So we're not going to do 2 times 3. We're going to do 2. Bring down that 2. But then that's going to be 3 to the 2nd power. That is going to be 9. So it's easy to get caught up and say, okay, I'm going to do 2 times 3 and then raise it to the 2nd. No. Exponents first. And then I'm actually going to bring down everything else. I could go ahead and do 4 times 3, but for this problem, I'm going to do everything one at a time. Now I'm going to multiply, because I'm here, multiply or divide. So 2 times 9 is 18. I can go ahead and multiply 4 times 3. I can't subtract because I have to take care of all of my multiplication first. So 4 times 3 is 12. Then I bring down that 1. So I've done my exponents. I've multiplied. Now I'm here adding and subtracting. So from left to right, 18 minus 12, that is 6. And I bring down a plus 1. 6 plus 1 is 7. So that is my final answer. Okay. Last one. Let's tackle this one. So grouping symbols. I I could also mention that a grouping symbol could be a fraction bar as well. So parentheses, brackets, and parentheses, brackets, fraction bar, absolute sign. Okay. So let's tackle this one. I'm going to start over here because I want enough room. So I'm going to bring down this 7, bring down a -2, and inside those brackets, let's take care of that. Okay. So 3 plus 1 is 4. So I'm going to bring down that -6 minus, so 3 plus 1 is 4, minus, I can go ahead and simplify because this fraction bar is actually considered a grouping symbol. So 8 plus 7 is 15, bring down that 3. Okay, we still have some grouping symbols here. Let me change the colors. So -6 minus 4. I'm going to bring down that 7 minus 2. So -6 minus 4 is -10. Still got those brackets. Minus, I can simplify -15 over 3. So I'm working with grouping symbols here and division also. 15 divided by 3 is 5. All right, so now, since I've simplified, I still have these brackets. So this indicates multiplication. So -2 times 10. So make sure that if you look at the sign in front, so we have this -2 here, right here. That's also considered a negative, okay? So keep in your head, minus and negative is the same thing. Minus, I'm just writing it here, minus, that's an S, let me erase that, is equal to a negative. Minus sign, negative sign, they are the same, okay? So, -2 times -10, what's a negative times a negative? Hopefully you remember that it is a positive because it's the same sign. So, that is going to give me a positive 20, so that will be plus 20. Okay? Now, final step. 7 plus 20 is 27. Bring down that -5. And 27 minus 5 is 22. So we have tackled these 4 order of operations problems, and you will know what's next. You're going to get into some practice. Okay, so we have 3 problems that I would like for you to try on your own. So go ahead and just pause the video and try these problems on your own. Okay, here are your answers here, 38, -70, and -27. Please check your work, check your answers, make sure you have the correct steps. And one thing that may have thrown you off, hopefully it didn't, this 3 minus 5, it's a -2. So make sure you're bringing down the correct symbols. If you missed any, just keep the video paused and just go over it. And maybe go back and review some of my examples as well. Okay, but hopefully you got them correct.